So hi, welcome to Noise Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
We're here with
Guys, I'm Mike Stead.
and we have some questions to say about his new EP, Rebirth. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to it so far?
The overall response has been really good. I think majority of fans have really clanged to the first track, Grip, and I'm just happy to see that they're receiving it really well. I kind of took a little bit more of a step into the lane that I'm trying to kind of grasp sonically, and it's really cool to see how people are, sticking with me through the development of everything.
Hell yeah. The
Hell
EP's
yeah.
fucking crazy.
Yeah, that first fucking track, the first two, crazy.
Yeah, the
I
first
fucking loved it.
those are probably like the heavy hitters of the project, and we thought about spacing them out so that they're like, you got a little room on the project, and we were like, nah, just put them side by side, 1 and 2.
Gotta punch people in the
yeah.
face.
Exactly.
Oh,
You gotta hook them in.
have
Yeah. So is there any meaning behind the EP title or cover art?
Not really the cover art. The project itself, as far as the name goes, was kind of basing off the fact that the sound has developed and kind of changed. I mean, if you look back at like 2018, my project started more of like an underground kind of hip hop side of things, and it slowly developed. I mean, it got heavier and harder and more industrial, and as things progressed. But I think now I've found a sound that is really my own and is really representative of the brand. So in that was kind of like a quote unquote, not to sound corny, but like a little bit of a rebirth.
Okay.
And so I was like, instead of leaning against it and pretending like it's not happening, I'm just gonna be like, dude, let's just embrace it. Let's go with it. And then the last EP that we did was called Revenge. And I was like, something, like just to keep it like Revenge, Rebirth, whatever, move on to a third kind of project potentially. The cover art, I just looked, my friend Eliza shot it, and she literally was like, yeah, this kind of looks like you're like a placenta, like with the sheet, with the plastic sheeting like pulled over my face. And I was just like running through pictures, and I was like, this looks sick, and it kind of matches the Rebirth vibe.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, cool, we'll just run with it. I mean, I edited it myself, and it ended up looking really cool.
Oh yeah.
Hell
So I don't know if this is actually what's happening, if you're just spitballing, but is the going to be like a trilogy?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. All right. Just wanted confirmation on that.
That's a little secret. I don't know what it'll be yet, because it has to make sense on whatever the project fits sonically.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's fair.
Gotcha. So can you tell us a little bit about your writing process for the EP?
Okay. Yeah, the majority, what's kind of crazy is these songs kind of span over a wide duration of time. Puppets and Welcome to Hell, for example, I wrote back in 2020. We definitely shot them in the realm of like restructuring, reproducing, building them out. Like for example, Welcome to Hell had a like more rocktronic EDM kind of drop when we played it out at festivals, and we kind of built that into absolute chaos like it is now. Whereas Grip and Bite Down, we wrote a few months ago. I did like a writing trip in LA, and I did Grip with my buddies, Matthias and Marcus I did Grip with, and then Bite Down with Matthias and his roommate Carrie. And that's been kind of a new process. I usually write and produce everything myself versus working with friends. And I, sometimes we'll do co-productions and stuff like that. Whereas this one was like meticulously, we go in, we all, we're piling on top of each other with the computer because we're all producers. And then, with writing, we're all brainstorming, together. And I think that's provided a new angle and a new perspective with the writing process in general. I kind of enjoy it now, because it's not that I can't do it myself. Like a lot of my songs I just fully do on my own. Whereas this kind of provides a different perspective. So it's kind of like horse blinders, where if you're like kind of writing the same music over and over and over again, it's you stay in that lane versus having other people with you in the room or other people with you in the writing process. It's more organic, and you get more ideas out of it, whether they're good or bad. Both Grip and Bite Down have these, like I love a good pre-chorus, but both of those have these weird, like kind of dissonant, uncomfortable pre-choruses. Whereas I traditionally write like very, down the middle, catchy pre-chorus into the chorus kind of thing. And that was both of those, I think, were Matthias's idea. So it's been an interesting process. I'm trying to remember the process for some of the other songs. Scream and Shout, for example, that was an old one. And then Creep, yeah, it was the same thing. I think I did that back in 2020. So this is kind of a culmination of songs that we wanted to come out. Not all of them are the most recent, but they've been tinkered with enough at this point where it's like, all right, these are good. We play them live. Great fan reaction when we play them live. So let's get these out and definitely throw in a few new ones. That way it's kind of a mix of both.
Absolutely. And bringing in outside writers into your writing process, was there a learning curve to that for you? Like, was there any sort of nervousness bringing other people into that process?
No, I think it's more about who I work with. The music I write, I'm very neurotic. Like, the way that I work from being a hands-on producer and writer, I think it takes someone having equally of a strange brain. It's really kind of all it comes down to, at least for me. I've done sessions with people that are more like traditional pop or like, alternative pop kind of shit. And I just kind of sit there and I'm like, this is not going to work. You guys are not out of your mind. I need very strange, weird people to work with. Yeah. And we're starting to find more and more of those and kind of have my little niche group, like Matthias and Carrie that I was talking about. I was just in LA for a few weeks and we did another session. And we made some strange, like drum and bass, Prodigy, weird metal shit. I don't know, like a noise track in a sense. And it was just us having fun. And I think that's kind of where we get the best music, because that's what we did with Bite Down. It was like I sat there and was playing a riff and they're like, that's sick. And it just kept developing into the song.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
And when writing those more recent tracks, were you writing them with the EP in mind, or did the EP just kind of happen?
No, the EP kind of just happened. I never have like a goal, which I know sounds kind of stupid, but unless it's like gonna be, an album, I think that's the time that you really have to sit down and be like, this has to be like this, and very meticulously craft it. With EPs, it's a little bit more open-ended, where it's like, this is just a cool culmination of songs. Then they have to all be cohesive. So it was kind of me just writing. And I mean, there's plenty of songs that didn't make the EP. If that makes sense. I kind of just write a ton of music and then go, all right, what are our best contestants here? And that's kind of where we went from, because there was a few that could have been on the EP. There was actually one song in particular that we really wanted to be on the project, but we were waiting for the right feature. And it's more in like the industrial hip hop lane. And when you're playing the hip hop game, features are a pain in the ass. It's almost so much easier to just stick in the rock lane and just, everyone's so much more direct and easy to work with, I guess, versus hip hop's a lot of personality, and it's a lot. You got to navigate that lane. So, like for example, that one didn't make the project, and it might make the next one. We'll see
if that feature comes through.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, I mean, we also weren't gunning for like lowbrow features. We were gunning for like relatively sizable names.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So what song off this EP took the longest to write, and which one is your personal favorite?
Personal favorite is Grip right now, but that's just how I am. Like when we put the project together, I was like, Bite Down for sure, tried and true. Bite Down is definitely my favorite song to play live, just because of the just like the energy that's just built into that song and the dynamics of the vocals. It's just kind of like a tried and true fast punk song at the end of the day, and that's so fun to play. Versus Grip is so much more, I think, emotional and based off of my bands that I kind of grew up on, like Linkin Park, for example. If you listen to Linkin Park and then you listen to Grip, you're like, okay, I can definitely see the the background here. So yeah, Grip's my favorite. And then as far as what took longest to write, it doesn't take me long to write songs.
Good.
I kind of just, my writing process is I always start production first, and that is usually a few hours of work, and I've got a full arrangement, and by then I've heard the chorus so many times that I just kind of come up with the top line, and then I'm fucking tired, and then I give up, and then I walk away from it. I come back like 2 weeks later and I'm like, oh god, this needs verses. Write the verses and stuff like that. I'm trying to think specifically. There was not a single song in this project that took more than a few hours.
Damn.
As far as getting it, like writing the majority share of the song, as far as the production and chorus and stuff like that, not a single one. I think Bite Down actually is a good example. We scrapped the chorus the first time. It was originally called like King or something like that, and the chorus like, I'm feeling like a king. I don't know. It's just fucking straight, same concept of like being this manic, almost like a manic episode of and embracing it, but it wasn't what we wanted because the verses are so strong on that song, and I was like, this has to match the quality. So we scrapped the chorus, rewrote it. That one probably had the most writing time.
All
Now
right.
that I think about it.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So for this question, I want you to pick your favorite lyric off the EP and tell us the meaning behind it.
I have a lot of sneaky, fucked up lyrics on this project that people don't realize like what they mean. But I'm not gonna pick any of those because I hate over explaining.
Damn it. Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
I'm trying to lean into Grip. I think the chorus for Grip, although it's like it's very self-explained. I can't take much more than this. It's like this whole process of just like where I wanted to write from was I think I've written songs, and I think a lot of people have written songs of like doing the fight, right? Like everyone struggles with everyone struggles with mental health, and I think a lot of songs are kind of like, oh, you can do it.
Yeah.
And I think I've written songs like that, but at the same time I was like, I just want to write a song about giving up, not like in the sense of like leaning into the crazy, not giving up in the realm of rolling over and dying, but in the realm of like, all right, dude, if this is going to be chaotic and nuts, well, fuck it, let's kind of do it. So I'm the chorus specifically. I can't take much more than this. I feel my fingers start to slip. I can't take much more than this. It's about time I lose my grip. It's incredibly, self-understanding and self-explanatory. But I think that's my favorite just because people can relate on like a massive, broad scale of things of just, all right, dude, I'm going to give in to the crazy shit and see where it gets me.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. Awesome.
I don't know. That's my go-to.
Fuck yeah. It's cool as hell. So good. I'm cool with it.
Thank you. As long as you're cool with it.
You got my approval, so we can move on. It's all good. So would you be able to tell us where your headspace was at while you were creating this EP?
Since a lot of the songs were written early on, I think in that sense, 4 of the songs were written during like COVID, during the pandemic, because everyone had so much goddamn time. We had so much time. We were all in our houses, just fucking sitting there. And for me, I'm like, this is perfect. This is great. I can do this all day. So I wrote a ton of music and kind of just wrote where I was at the time and like on that day, right? Puppets is a little bit more, anti-government in a undersense. Like it's like a, kind of anti-man, like the anti-the-man kind of concept, being controlled and stuff like that. And I mean, think about it, what we were going through at the time, which was like, everyone was worried if like martial law was going to get kicked in. It was worried about like everyone's hoarding the grocery store to get toilet paper. It was this weird kind of government, the government kind of stepped in. It was more of like, I think that at the time, that's kind of where I was writing from. And, I'm trying to think of the other tracks. Creep's just strange and experimental. Scream and Shout's a straightforward kind of hip hop rock track. Welcome to Hell didn't have a ton of specific meaning. I honestly wanted to write something that was just heavy and in your, like really intense and just in your face and very different. Like that song is a bit more in the metalcore lane than I lean, or I tend to lean at least. And then Grip and Bite Down, I think that was such a difference of time. That was, 3 years later. And I'm just trying to think. You put me on the spot.
My bad.
No, you're good. What's crazy is I did that writing trip to LA and I wrote both those songs. And I think that I was just kind of writing from where I was at mentally at the time, which wasn't honestly probably a great place. I have a really weird love-hate relationship with LA. I lived there for 6 years and went through a ton of shit. And so I think being back there put me in that like hands are up kind of subconsciously on guard situation, because I wrote the chorus for Grip in 10 minutes, like maybe 10 minutes, like 5. It was one of those things where we had been producing it. I heard the top line in my head. I walked into Marcus's living room in his apartment and just had it. And it's a really raw chorus, like kind of what we were just walking through. It's really raw, and it's really just, it's up front. And I think that, I think I was in a strange headspace being in LA. So it gave me a strange writing dynamic.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad at all. Cause I love Grip. I love Bite Down. There were a few other sessions that I did that weren't the best, but those two stuck out above everything else.
All right. You know, there is such a huge gap between like when some of these songs were written to some of the other ones being only a couple months ago. Do you still relate to the songs from 2020 pandemic time, or was it just kind of like these fit the vibe so they go on the EP?
It's a mixture of both. I still love all the songs regardless. There's not a song that I'm like, man, fuck this. This just shouldn't have been on the project, or I wouldn't have put it out.
Yeah.
I definitely think some of the songs that I've just played, and especially when you do rehearsals, like you just hear the fucking song again and again and again. Especially like for me, I rehearse for a while leading into shows. I think like Scream and Shout, for example, is a good example of like, dude, I've heard this song so many times. It's good. It's great. It's always fun to play live. Everyone has a great response to it. But at the same time, there's a reason why it was on the very end of the EP. Because I was like, I was like, dog, like this is a great song, but also I have heard it so much. Whereas like the newer songs like Creep, for example, like that came out with the project. Although the song itself is old, since it's new in the world, to me, I'm like, oh, okay, sick. I'm gonna listen to this a few times, run it through and stuff like that.
Gotcha. So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this EP for the first time? Should you do in the car with friends and talk with headphones on? Is workout EP, party EP? What do you personally recommend?
Definitely could be a workout EP. Definitely could be an at-home manically cleaning your room EP.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of strange occurrences. I would say, here's my thing when it comes to music. It's so accessible, but it's at the same time, people have lost a little bit of touch with how they consume it, right? Like they'll hear a fucking 15-second soundbite on TikTok and consider that, oh, I heard a song. Versus, I think back in the day, people would come home and buy a record, and then they would, put it down and they'd fucking lay there. I don't know what they would do, but they would do something and just kind of like their current activity was listening to that song. I think that's changed a little bit. So whenever people are like, oh, how do you listen to music? I'm like, headphones or in the car. That way I can hear every aspect of like at least the sub and the dynamics of the music. So I would always say like headphones on, or in the car, blast it. My thing would be listen top to bottom. It's the easiest. It's in that arrangement for a reason. And like you said, like you pointed out at the beginning where you're like, dude, the first 2 songs, they just come in and beat the hell out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But I think those songs can, like Bite Down, it's a party song at the end of the day. So is Scream and Shout. Not necessarily, but it could be.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Got that vibe to it.
Yeah, exactly.
So this one should be super, super quick off the top of your head. I want you to describe this EP for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less.
A big manic mess. Is that
good.
3? Yeah.
That's 4.
Yeah.
We can axe
Okay.
It can just be a big manic mess.
A manic mess.
All right.
A big. Yeah. A manic mess. Yeah, I was sat there. I was like, that doesn't seem like 3. Yeah, I'd say it's kind of a manic mess, and there's an element that I prefer about that, where I've done an interview, I think it was back in like 2019 or 2020, where I talked about my process a little bit, but it's been the same ever since I said it. And I kind of set it off rip, where my sound has always been like an element of like controlled chaos, right? So it's like Grip, for example, that acoustic guitar, you're like, oh dude, this is sick. And then it just hits the fucking fan immediately. Yeah. There's always a dynamic though that's still palpable and controlled enough. Like I write in pop format, even though the songs are completely not pop. And I think that works for people. you get a little bit of crazy, but it's not absolute ADHD, like can't follow the words, can't hear the lyrics type thing. It's very straightforward.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Perfect.
So in that same train of thought, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want listeners to have while going through the EP?
No, I think it's up to everyone else to determine how they feel about a certain song or a certain, I leave it up to you.
It's fair enough. We can't argue with that answer.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So are you able to touch on any particularly challenging or standout moments from the creation of this EP, positive or negative?
I think positive would be referencing, working with some new writers and some new people that I'm not traditionally accustomed to, and getting into that headspace. Mm-hmm. Negative, I don't really have anything in particular. We struggled getting that feature with that one song that didn't make it. That was a little frustrating. But there was nothing, as far as the culmination of writing these songs, it was very organic. And then a big pile of songs that we were like, okay, sick. Here we go. We get some old stuff. We get some new stuff. It's all new to everybody else. But to me, I'm like, I've heard this goddamn song for years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it was pretty straightforward.
Makes sense. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So for this question, we want you to picture you're on tour. You're at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
The first thing I'm doing is stealing everything. I am stealing everything. Sticky fingers. What's the snack of choice? Is always protein bars. It's so easy.
Yeah.
It's such a all right, cool, I'm starving and I need decent food, because gas stations have dog shit food.
Yeah.
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah, get a little protein bar, a little Gatorade. I'm in the action. There was a tour though that we were traditionally eating eggs the entire time. I don't know why.
Who said that, Trent? Who told you to do that?
Dude, have you ever seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Of course.
Okay, you know what, Frank, is an egg in this trying time?
Yes.
But we started realizing that gas stations had like those little 2-packet hard-boiled eggs, and if it was like first thing in the morning, we're tired as fuck, and like we'd missed breakfast at the hotel or something, it would be like an egg in this trying time. I don't know, dude. I don't trust them. But it definitely became a thing of that tour. I think it was like the headline tour in the spring. It was like we were surviving on strange food.
On fucking gas station eggs.
Oof. Glad you made that one out alive.
Yeah. Oh,
so on the topic of food, if your project was a dish, what dish would your project be and why?
I don't know. Mm-hmm. I want it to be something good, but like that's that. Honestly, that is one of the hardest questions I've been asked in the duration of my career.
Thank you.
Fuck. I'm Italian. I want to say like spaghetti and meatballs, but at the same time, I feel like that makes no sense with my project. I feel like my project has to be something like more chaotic.
Okay.
Give me some examples. What do you got? What do you got? What do you think?
For you?
I'm interviewing you now.
What the hell? This is not how this works.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe something spicy. I don't know.
Spicy, something that fucking kicks you in the fucking jaw.
Yeah.
Like a spicy pad thai or something.
Yeah.
I'm worthless with the question.
Or if you want to do spaghetti, you can just like put some of the hot pepper flakes on there, like maybe too much.
Oh, loose jar.
Or hear me out. I just watched Elf the other day because it's Christmas time. You know the scene when he's like pouring syrup on his spaghetti and a bunch of Skittles candy and shit? Let's go with that.
Okay. Elf spaghetti.
There we go.
That's great.
Candy spaghetti.
All right. And for the last couple questions, we're going to shift completely away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with drink?
With drink. I like the way you said it. With drink.
I said but it just didn't come out.
Dude, I don't know. Like steak and lobster sounds fire. I feel like people that have like strange, you could always go the strange route of like having like the most like that comfort food that you had like one time when you were a kid. I don't know. Like I could easily say like pumpkin pie, but I'm gonna go steak, lobster. Maybe I can do pumpkin pie too. That and a glass of wine, a glass of just to settle, just to kick it. And I'm kicking, I'll be fine.
Hell yeah, wonderful. And if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
Oh, Adventure Time.
Oh, fuck you.
Like, yeah, I mean, I it's just because I've been rewatching it. Yeah, I'm hanging out with Finn and Jake. I'm living in the Adventure Time world.
All right.
Awesome.
And I have the honor of asking the last question. Every single person that we've spoken to have said that it is the most important question. What's your favorite color?
If my clothes were not a dead giveaway, black. All I own is black. My entire closet is almost laughable with the sense of like you open it and you're like, oh, a white closet with black clothes. That's all that's in there. Nothing else exists.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
No, go stream the Rebirth EP, listen from front to back, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to interview me on this wonderful Tuesday morning.
It's a beautiful Tuesday. Well, thank you for sound. It's been Mike Stead, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.